The sun burned hot above the dusty trade settlement. Sand swirled in the air, scratching metal walls and stinging the eyes of everyone walking the streets. The humans there were busy selling tools, fuel, old tech. Ships came and went from the landing pads like buzzing insects. No one paid attention to the weak figure stumbling toward the gates. It was a boy. Thin, shaking, barefoot. His skin was pale blue, covered in dust, and his clothes were torn. He didn't look more than 10 years. Old, his eyes were wide, scared, and full of something else, desperation. One guard looked at him and shouted, "Hey! No beggars here, get lost!" But the boy didn't stop. He took 2 more steps and fell face first into the dirt. People nearby turned to look. Most just kept walking. A few laughed. Inside a small gear shop near the gate, a man named Jack saw everything. He had rough hands, a strong back, and calm eyes that had seen too many wars. He watched the boy fall and didn't laugh. He moved quickly, pushing through the crowd, kneeling beside the boy. Jack turned the boy over. His lips were dry and strange red burns circled his wrists and ankles like he had been chained. Jack pulled out his water flask and lifted the boy's head gently. "Here, drink," he said. The boy opened his mouth slowly. His voice was weak, barely a whisper. "Please, help, my mom." Jack leaned closer. "Where is she?" "The boys." Lips trembled. "They took her, Black Talon. She's going to be sold." The guard started walking over, frowning. "Sir, back off." "That thing's a slave, or worse, a spy." Jack stood up quickly. "He's just a kid. Look at him." One guard reached for the boy. "Rules are rules. No unmarked aliens allowed." "He's getting tossed back outside the gates." "No," Jack said firmly. "I'll take responsibility." The guards hesitated. Jack had a reputation. He was a veteran. People said he once fought off a whole gang with just a wrench. They backed off. Jack picked up the boy gently and took him into his shop. Inside, the place was packed with old wires, screens, engine parts, and tools. He laid the boy on a cot in the corner and shut the door. The boy whispered again. "They're going to take her off-world. Tonight." Jack leaned in. "Who took her?" "Slavers," the boy said. "They tricked us. Said they'd give us work. But they beat her and locked her in a cage." Jack's jaw tightened. He looked at the burns again. "Real slave chains. They used heat-coated shackles that left permanent scars." "What's your name, kid?" Jack asked. "Laru," he said. "I escaped. I ran all night." Jack grabbed his old data pad and searched for the name Black Talon in the trade registry. After a moment, the screen blinked. "Ship. Black Talon registered too. Unlisted owner status. Departed orbit 1 hour ago." Jack stared at the screen. The ship had already left. But it wasn't far yet. He looked back at Laru. The boy's eyes were closing. He was too tired to speak more. Jack stood and locked the shop door. His hand went to a hidden drawer under the counter. Inside was something he hadn't touched in years, his old badge from the Solar Defense Corps, still shining under the dust. And next to it, a small energy pistol. He stared at both. He didn't plan on getting involved. Not again. He had come to this place to escape war and pain. To fix engines, not people, but the boy's voice wouldn't leave his head. "Please help. They took my mother." Jack reached out and took the badge. Then the pistol. He opened the back panel of his wall and tapped into the smuggler channel. A voice answered after a few seconds. "Jack, you alive?" "I need a ride," he said. "Fast. Where to?" "The Black Talon." The voice on the other end paused. "That's trouble." "Yeah," Jack said, "but I'm going anyway." He looked back at the boy sleeping on the cot. "I think I just made a promise." Outside, the sky darkened as a ship passed overhead. The dust blew stronger, but inside the small shop, something had changed. Jack was no longer just a trader. He was going back into the fire. This time for a child. For a mother in chains. And maybe for something inside him, he thought, was long gone. The fight wasn't over yet. And someone out there was going to learn what it really meant to mess with a human. The stars above the outpost looked cold and distant, like silent watchers. Jack stood near the edge of the landing platform, gripping the small energy pistol inside his coat. The wind tugged at his jacket. Behind him, the boy Laru slept under a blanket inside the shop. Unaware of what Jack was about to do, a black ship appeared through the dust, silent, sharp, and ugly. It didn't use the public port. It hovered for a moment, then lowered near the service zone. Its wings folded in like the claws of a predator. A ramp hissed open. A tall woman stepped out. Her eyes were hidden behind a red visor, and her jacket had more weapons than fabric. She lit a thin smoke stick and looked at Jack with a smirk. "Didn't think I'd hear from you again?" she said. Jack walked forward. "I need to catch a slaver ship, fast." She raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. You found a cute little alien," he cried, "and now you're playing hero." Jack didn't answer. The woman stepped closer. "The Black Talon isn't just some junk. Holler, Jack. That ship's been on 5 watch lists. It changes IDs every week. It works for ghost black market buyers that don't leave footprints. Can you catch it or not?" Jack asked. She took a drag from her smoke and let the silence hang. "Maybe," she said. "But nothing's free anymore." Jack pulled something from inside his coat, a small silver badge. "Not shiny like before?" "The old solar defense badge." She stopped smiling. "You're giving me that?" she asked, stunned. "I'm not a soldier anymore. But this can get you favors in certain ports. Or bribe a border patrol, your choice." She took the badge, eyes serious now. "All right," she said. "Let's go hunt slavers." The ship roared to life, rising into the clouds like a bullet. Inside, the cabin was tight, filled with strange smells and humming metal. The woman Rika sat at the pilot's seat, flipping switches. "How long do we have?" Jack asked. Rika checked her display. "If they left an hour ago and are running low-speed drift to avoid scanners, we can catch them near the Vesper Belt in 3 hours. After that, we lose them for good." Jack sat beside her. "I want to get the boy's mother out." "Just her?" Jack hesitated. "There might be more." Rika laughed. "Of course there are. The Black Talon never carries just one." "You sure you're ready to fight an entire slaver crew?" "Because they don't use rubber bullets." Jack looked out the window. The stars blurred past. "I'm not sure," he said, "but I have to try." 3 hours later, Rika slowed the ship to a crawl. "There," she whispered. A dark shape floated ahead. No lights, no engine hum, just a shadow against the stars. It looked broken like space junk, but Jack could see it faint heat signatures, power lines running cold. Air pockets still active. "That's it," he said. They drifted closer, silent. "Why?" "Is it dark?" Jack asked. Rika frowned. "Maybe they're sleeping." Jack shook his head. "Slavers don't sleep. They hide." Rika locked the ship to the Talon's side. A small door hissed open. Jack followed her into the airlock. They entered the Black Talon through an emergency hatch. The inside smelled like rust and oil. The walls were metal gray, and cold air clung to their skin. It was too quiet. Rika pointed down a hallway. "Cargo bay's that way. You ready?" Jack nodded. They moved quickly, staying in shadows. Then they heard something, a soft click. A small groan. They turned a corner and froze. There were cages, dozens of them. Aliens from different species sat or lay inside, eyes dull, skin bruised. Some were chained by necks or wrists. Others sat quietly, holding on to each other, and near the center was her, the boy's mother. Same skin tone as LaRue, same eyes. She was barely awake, chained at the ankles, her back pressed against the cold wall. Her breathing was shallow. Jack moved forward. "We found her." But just then there was a voice. Not loud, not from a throat. It came through the air, speakers in the ceiling. "Welcome," the voice said, calm, male. "We've been expecting you." Rika cursed under her breath. Jack looked around. "It's a trap." The doors slammed shut behind them. Red lights blinked. The cages shook, and the slaves looked up, eyes full of terror. "We knew someone would come for her," the voice continued. "But we didn't expect it to be you, human, a retired soldier." "How romantic." Jack raised his pistol. "Show yourself." The voice laughed. "I'm already here. And now you're staying with us." Jack moved to unlock the cage. "Careful," the voice warned. "Those chains are explosive. One wrong move and she dies." Jack stopped. His hand trembled slightly. He had stepped into something much darker than expected. And now, it wasn't just about saving one mother. It was about escaping alive. The chains were glowing faint red, humming softly like they were alive. Jack knelt beside the alien woman, Larue's mother. Her body was cold, her eyes half shut, her lips dry. He could see the metal cuffs biting into her wrists and ankles. They weren't normal chains. These were coated slave locks, designed to punish escape attempts with heat or worse explosions. "Don't touch it," Rika warned. "These types are connected to the ship's nervous system. If we pull the wrong link, the whole room could light up." Jack's fingers paused an inch from the chain. He clenched his jaw and looked around the cargo hold. All around them, the other captives stared silently. Some were shaking, some holding small children, some too numb to react. There were so many. "Too many, we can't just take her," Jack said. "Look at them, they'll be left behind." Rika cursed under her breath. "This wasn't the deal. You said one woman." This is a camp?" A speaker above crackled again, that same cold voice returning. "You are kind, human, noble, brave, but kindness gets you killed out here." Jack stood slowly, his voice sharp. "Who are you?" "I am the architect of order," the voice replied. "These people are property, bought, traded, sold fairly across borders. Your mistake was thinking they still belong to themselves." The lights flickered, then a timer appeared on the wall. Red digits, slowly ticking down. 15 minutes, the voice said. "When that reaches 0, the ship will purge the lower hold. That includes your little rescue mission." Rika's eyes went wide. "He's going to flush the bay." Jack turned back to Larue's mother. She opened her eyes and whispered in a soft, broken voice, "Please, not me, not again." Jack's heart twisted. "Wait," said Anu. Voice one that didn't come from the speakers. It came from another cage. In the corner, sitting with her knees drawn to her chest, was a tall alien woman with dark silver markings on her face. Her eyes were bright blue and sharp, not dull like the others. "You want to save them?" she said quietly. "Then listen to me." Jack stepped closer. "Who are you?" She looked him over. "Someone who knows this ship. I've been here longer than anyone. I've studied the code. I know where the override is." "You're lying," Rika snapped. "Probably a plant." "One of their spies?" "No," Jack said. "She's not afraid." "Look at her eyes." The woman nodded slowly. "You can't unlock them by force. You need to reset the control node behind the captain's chair. It's in the upper chamber, locked behind a genetic scan." Jack raised an eyebrow. "So how do I get in?" The woman looked down. "You don't, but I can," Jack blinked. "You were part of this ship, weren't you?" "I was born here," she whispered. "My mother was the ship's slave. My father, its former captain. He died, but his genes live in me." Rika looked at Jack. "If she's lying, we die." "She's not," Jack said. "I'm trusting her." The woman nodded. "Unlock my cage. I'll go with you." "The chains on the others?" "I can shut them off all at once." Jack opened the panel on her cage and quickly hacked the lock. It clicked open, and the woman stepped out, her movements graceful, her back straight. "Unlike the others, she had no chains. You were never a slave," Jack said. "No," she replied. "But I lived like one." Rika readied her gun. "We've got 12 minutes." They raced through the narrow halls, climbing ladders and crawling past exposed wires. The ship groaned around them like it was alive. Jack could feel the heat rising from the vents. The engines were waking up. Finally, they reached the upper chamber. It looked like a throne room made of wires. At the center was a tall black chair, surrounded by blinking red lights. "That's it," she said. The alien woman placed her palm on a panel. Nothing happened. Jack stepped back. Confused. Then, the voice returned, angrier this time. "Clever girl. I knew you'd betray me someday." The woman's face turned pale. Suddenly the room locked down. A blue shield dropped around the chair. "It's scanning your body now," the voice mocked. "But I changed the code. You don't control this ship anymore." Jack ran to the side wall, slamming his fist into the panel. "There has to be a backup." "There is," the woman said, "but it's inside the throne." Direct link to my father's blood. Jack stared at the chair. You mean the DNA is in there? She nodded. Yes, in a vial. Under the seat. Jack ripped open the back panel, his hands covered in wires and sparks. Time was almost up, only 4 minutes left. He reached into the base and pulled out a small black case. Inside was a vial glowing with soft red light. He handed it to her. She placed it into the scanner. Everything stopped. The lights changed from red to green. The countdown vanished. And the chains in the lower hold unlocked all at once. Hundreds of prisoners fell to the floor. Free for the first time. Jack stood still, breathing heavy, but before he could smile, a new voice, deep and inhuman, came through the speaker. Congratulations, it said coldly. Now you've made enemies across the entire system. The chains were gone, the alarms were silent, but the silence didn't feel like victory. Jack, Rika, and the tall alien woman stood frozen in the control chamber. The override had worked. Hundreds of slaves were free below, but the voice on the speaker was not done. You broke the system, it said slowly. Now the system will break you. Suddenly the ship jolted. A blast rocked the side. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Rika grabbed the wall to steady herself. They're shooting at us, she shouted, from outside. Jack ran to the window. 3 ships had dropped out of warp, all black, no markings. They circled the black talon like hungry wolves. Those aren't patrol ships, Jack said. No, the alien woman said. They're buyers. Rika's face turned pale. They came to collect the slaves. Now they think we stole them. Jack looked back at her. We did. Another voice echoed from the hallway behind them. This one was not from the speaker. It was soft and familiar. Uncle Jack? Jack turned fast. It was LaRue. The boy had followed them. His small feet were bare, his breathing fast. You shouldn't be here, Jack said, grabbing him gently. I had to, LaRue said. I found her. I found my mom. Jack froze. Where? She woke up, LaRue whispered. But she was scared. She said something strange. She said, the ship knows her blood. Jack blinked, then slowly turned to the alien woman beside him, the one who had just unlocked the entire control system. She looked down, quiet. Jack stared. Wait, are you saying? Yes, the woman said finally. I am her daughter. Rika narrowed her eyes. You're LaRue's sister? The woman nodded. Half-sister. My father was human, her father was not. LaRue's eyes widened. I have a sister? The woman kneeled, placing a hand on his shoulder. I didn't know she had another child. I thought they had taken them all. Jack's voice was firm. So the system listened to you because of your father. But your mother, she was the key to the original chain codes. The woman stood up. She was the first, the original, the one they called the Slave Queen? Rika whispered, that's a legend. A woman taken from the royal lines of the Trell Empire, sold across systems. They say she birthed a line of blood-chained slaves. That can't be true. It is, the woman said. And I'm proof. Jack looked out the window again. The enemy ships were closing in fast. We need to leave, he said. Now, we can't, Rika replied. The engines are fried. They were set to overheat if the override was triggered. We're dead in space. Jack turned to the woman. Can you fix them? She hesitated. Maybe, but I'll need time. Empower, LaRue tugged on Jack's coat. I know a place. Jack knelt. What place? There's a hidden panel under the lower floor, the boy said. My mom said. That's where the Black Talon's heart is. She said it was a secret engine, only for escape. The woman's eyes lit up. He's right. I remember now. It's a warp cell, old tech, but dangerous. It was meant for emergencies. We're in one, Jack said. They rushed down the narrow halls together, passing rows of former prisoners now sitting quietly, watching with wide eyes. Some stood and followed. A few offered help. Others just prayed in their own languages. They reached the lower floor. You dropped to his knees and pulled open a hidden panel beneath a broken pipe. Inside was a glowing cylinder, pulsing faint blue. A forgotten core. Jack leaned in. This can fly the ship? The woman nodded. Only once. After that it burns out. Where will it take us? Rika asked. Anywhere we point it, she said. Jack looked at the hundreds of scared faces waiting behind them. We pointed home, he said. They loaded the engine. Jack helped carry wounded into the center bay. Rika ran checks on power levels. The woman linked the system with her DNA once more. The ship came alive. But then they saw it, one of the enemy ships had docked. The doors began to melt under a plasma torch. We're out of time, Jack said. He handed Laru a communicator. Take this. Stay with your mom. No matter what happens, don't let go. Laru nodded, holding tight to his mother's hand. The woman screamed from the control deck. Now! Do it now! Jack slammed the warp switch. For a moment, the black talon turned white. The stars bent. Space twisted around the ship like a whirlpool, and then they were gone. Silence. Then dash screams of joy. Of confusion, of disbelief. They had jumped. Jack stood up slowly, breathing hard, but something was wrong. The woman's face had gone pale again. We're not home, she whispered. Jack stepped to the window. They were orbiting a planet green. Glowing, but not Earth, and worse, the ship's sensors showed. Something massive in orbit. Another slaver fleet. Bigger. Stronger. And now they knew the black talon had turned against them. The stars outside the window weren't familiar. The air inside the ship was thick with silence. The warp jump had worked, but they had landed in the wrong place, and something worse was waiting for them. Jack stood beside the tall alien woman. Eyes locked on the scanner. 10 ships, maybe more. All slaver class, bigger than the black talon, heavily armed. Surrounding the green planet like a trap. It's not Earth, Jack muttered. It's a slaver world. The woman nodded slowly. They brought us here on purpose. Rika stepped forward, checking the console. How? That engine was locked to manual override. Only she had the blood code. Jack turned to the woman. Is there anyone else on this ship with your DNA? The woman froze. Her eyes darted to the side. My mother, she whispered. Jack's face hardened. She's the one who changed the warp path. No, the woman said quickly. She couldn't. She was unconscious. Jack stepped closer. Who else? And then, click. Rika. She was already reaching for her belt. Jack pulled his weapon a split second faster. Don't. Rika paused. Jack, you sold us out, he said. His voice was low, calm but full of danger. That's why you came so fast when I called. You weren't doing me a favor. You wanted your payment. I needed the money, Rika said. Coldly, do you know what they pay for royalty? For the child of the slave queen? More than I've ever seen in my life. You knew who Laru was, Jack said, eyes narrowing. From the beginning, I knew his mother, Rika replied. 10 years ago, I saw her chained in a market. She begged for someone to take her child and run. She paid me to get him out, I did. But I never forgot how much she was worth. Jack felt a burn inside his chest. You left her behind for credits. I saved the boy, Rika snapped. But now I want what I earned. If I send the girl her daughter back to them, maybe they'll let us live. The woman stepped forward, her voice sharp. You'll never get my blood again. Rika raised her gun, but Jack was already moving. One quick shot. The pistol buzzed. Rika fell. Stunned but alive. Jack picked up her weapon and turned to the rest of the ship. We don't have time, he said. Those slavers will dock in minutes. The woman looked at the screen. Their ships are coded to the same system as the Black Talon. They'll enter without a fight, Jack thought hard. We need to trick them. Lure them in. Then cut the power mid-dock. The woman nodded. If we cut it fast enough, it will seal the airlocks. Trap them between ships, Jack said, and buy us time. Laru entered the room, holding his mother's hand. Her legs were still. Weak, but she could walk now. We heard shouting, he said. Jack walked to them and knelt. Listen to me. You two are the reason they're here. You're also the reason we're fighting. He placed a small device in the woman's hand. This is the backup power cell. You keep it. If this ship dies, you can still run. The woman stared at him. What about you? Jack stood. I'll stay. I owe them that. Down below, the prisoners had turned the cargo bay into a fortress. Makeshift barricades, sharp metal rods, tools turned into weapons, they weren't slaves anymore. They were survivors, and they were ready to fight. The slaver ships docked with heavy thuds. The walls shook, but no alarms went off, no blasters fired. Instead, voices echoed from the ship's corridors. "Step aside." "Humans," one said. Another laughed. "We're only here for what's ours." Jack hid behind a corner near the main access tunnel. The power cable was exposed beside him, humming with energy. The slaver team entered, dressed in black armor, weapons glowing. Their leader had a whip tied to his back and a barcode burned onto his face. He raised a scanner. "It's here," he said. "I can smell her blood in the walls." Jack waited. 1 breath. 2. Then he pulled the main power line. The ship screamed. Lights died. Doors slammed, and the slavers were trapped between chambers, sealed tight. Chaos exploded behind them. Freed prisoners rushed from both sides. Tools swung. Cries rang out. Jack ran forward, grabbing one slaver by the helmet and slamming him into the wall. Another fired. Jack ducked, rolled, and returned fire. The woman joined him, her fists glowing with alien tech, shocking enemies with every touch. They fought side by side. Not as human and alien, but as something else. As family. Later, silence returned. The slavers were defeated. The survivors stood bloody but alive. Jack limped back into the control room. His shoulder was burned. His knuckles were torn, but his eyes were alive. The woman helped him sit. "You shouldn't have stayed," she whispered. "I had to," he said. "You're the future, but I'm still the wall." Outside the window, the slaver fleet began to drift. Empty, they had one, but the galaxy would hear of this. And now, war would come. Smoke rose from the broken halls of the Black Talon. Blood stained the floor. Tools lay scattered like fallen swords, and soft moans echoed through the silent ship. The battle was over, but nothing felt peaceful. Jack sat against a wall, his shoulder wrapped in cloth. He wasn't bleeding anymore, but he was cold, tired, ached in places he didn't know could ache. Across from him sat Laru, holding his mother's hand. She looked stronger now. She had taken food, water. Her voice had returned, though it was soft. The tall alien woman, the daughter, stood near the control console, watching silent stars blink through the cracked window. Her hands trembled. She tried to hide it. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Jack broke the silence. "They'll come again." The woman turned to him. "Yes. The slavers, the buyers, their masters. We didn't kill them all." "No," she said, "but we made them bleed." Jack nodded. "And that's enough for now." She walked toward him slowly, holding something in her hand. A piece of a broken control core, still faintly glowing. "This used to run the chains," she said. "It locked every cage. It punished every cry." Jack took the piece, stared at it. "Now it's just scrap." "No," she said. "Now it's a memory." She sat beside him. "I used to think my blood made me weak," she whispered. "Born from a slaver and a slave. But now I understand it makes me dangerous. I carry two sides. I can destroy both." Jack looked at her. "What will you do?" "I want to end it," she said. "All of it. Every chain, every market, every buyer. I want to burn their empire." He studied her face. Her eyes were no longer afraid. They were sharp, focused. "But you can't do it alone," he said. "No," she replied, "which is why I need you." Jack raised an eyebrow. "I'm not a soldier anymore." She gave him a small, tired smile. "You never stopped being one. You just needed a reason." He chuckled softly, wincing at the pain in his ribs. "And what if I say no?" She stood quiet. "I won't stop either way," she said. "But it'll be easier with you." Below, the freed prisoners gathered in the main cargo hold. Jack walked among them slowly, his steps heavy. He saw a mother cradling a baby. A blind, old alien humming a song. Two young girls helping each other wrap bandages. They had been property. Now they were people again. One man walked up to him. Reptilian alien with burn scars and a broken tusk. "You freed us," the man said in a deep voice. "We owe you." "No," Jack said. "You owe yourselves." The man saluted him, then returned to the crowd. Later, in the engine room, Jack found Laru sitting alone. "You okay?" Jack asked. The boy nodded. but didn't look up. Jack sat beside him. I miss how things were before, LaRue said. You mean before they took her? Jack asked. LaRue shook his head. Before I knew. Before I saw what people can do. Jack was quiet. Then he said, Do you know what makes humans different? LaRue looked up. Jack smiled sadly. We break, but we keep walking. Even when we're lost, even when we're scared, that's how we fight. LaRue looked down at his hands. I'm scared, Jack nodded. Me too. The boy leaned into him, and Jack wrapped an arm around his small shoulders. I want to stay with you, LaRue whispered. Jack's heart paused for a second. He closed his eyes. Then you stay, he said, a few hours later. The woman entered the room with a quiet look. It's time, she said. Jack stood. Time for what? There's one more thing, she replied. Before we leave this place. She led him to the top deck, a small shuttle bay long unused. A quiet figure waited near the edge. It was LaRue's mother. She was standing now. Hair clean. Eyes clear. I need to show you something, she said. They entered a storage room near the bay. Inside were names, hundreds of names, carved into the walls. In dozens of alien languages, this is what they did, she said. These are the ones who never made it out. Jack ran his hand over one of the names. She turned to him. I can't speak for them. I can't carry their pain, but I can make sure it ends with me. She held out a small metal disc. This holds everything. Locations, buyers, codes, routes, it's how they move people like cattle. Jack took it slowly. You want me to use it? She nodded. You're the only one they'll listen to. He stared at her, then turned to the wall again. So many names, he said. But not yours, she whispered. No, Jack said. Mine. Goes on the last wall. She raised her eyebrow. Why? He looked out the window toward the stars. Because I'm not coming back until this ends. 10 years passed like sand through broken glass. In the great hall of the Galactic Union. The air was cold, filled with quiet tension. Alien ambassadors from over 30 species sat in tall chairs made of steel and crystal. They wore robes, armor, jewels, each one holding power. But none of them spoke. All eyes were fixed on the center stage. A young man stood there. His skin was pale blue. His eyes were sharp. His voice was steady. My name is LaRue, son of the one they called the Slave Queen, he said clearly. I was born in a cage. I was raised by a human. The crowd murmured. A few scoffed. Others leaned in. He held up a small metal disc. This is proof, he said. Proof of everything, the slave routes, the hidden markets, the bribes sent to Union officials, and the ships that carried children in boxes. He paused. My mother survived. My sister led the rebellion. But this only exists because one human opened his door to a stranger. In the back row, a scarred man stood silently, older now, gray in the beard. A soldier's eyes in a civilian jacket. Jack. He didn't speak, he didn't smile, but he was proud. LaRue's voice rose. I do not come here to beg. I come to warn. You. End this system now, or it will end you. A Drazen general stood up, frowning. Are you threatening the Union? LaRue looked at him. Calm. No, he said. I'm offering peace. But we are not alone anymore. All those you called cargo, they're armed now. They remember everything. And we will not go back to chains. The room exploded into noise, yelling, shouting, laughter, fear. Jack stepped forward just once. Just enough to be seen. The room went quiet again, because everyone in the galaxy still remembered him, the human who boarded the Black Talon alone. The one who never stopped fighting. After the meeting, LaRue walked outside onto a wide balcony. Stars stretched across the sky. Ships moved between them like silent birds. Jack joined him. You did it, Jack said softly. Not yet, LaRue replied. They'll vote in 3 days. They'll argue, delay, some will lie, Jack chuckled. That's politics. I hate it, LaRue said. Jack nodded. Me too. There was a moment of silence. Then LaRue asked, Do you think she's proud? Of me? Jack turned to him. She used to whisper your name in her sleep. Even when she was weak, when she thought she would die, she smiled when she said it. LaRue swallowed hard. I miss her. I do too, Jack said. They stood in silence. Again. Then Jack spoke, quieter. Are you ready for what comes next? LaRue looked out at the stars. I used to dream of saving her, he said. But I was too small, too late. You saved her, Jack. You gave her a second chance. Jack shook his head. She saved me. LaRue turned. Now it's my turn to save. Someone? Jack raised an eyebrow. Who? LaRue's eyes darkened. The ones still out there. Still in cages. Weeks passed. The vote passed barely. Slavery was outlawed in all Union systems. The black market routes were raided. Fleets were sent to the outer rim, but then the retaliation came. A ship exploded in orbit of a refugee colony. A warning. Lara received a message. It said, You opened the door. Now we're coming for you. Jack was waiting when he arrived at the old hangar. You knew this would happen, LaRue said. Yes, Jack replied. You're going to fight again? Jack opened a crate. Inside was his old pistol, polished, loaded. I never stopped. LaRue stepped forward. Then I'm going with you. Jack raised an eyebrow. You're not a fighter. No, LaRue said. I'm worse. I'm a memory they tried to erase. He held up a data chip. It has every name, every face. I'm going to show it to every system, every city, every child. Jack smiled faintly. You really are your mother's son. They took flight in a new ship. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't fast, but it had a name burned onto the side. The Last Cage. Inside, people worked quietly. Survivors, fighters, builders. They had no uniforms. No flags. Just stories. They flew toward the edge of known space. To the places still, hidden in shadow. To the systems where no light reached, because darkness doesn't end. With laws. It ends when someone walks into it with fire. And the boy who once cried in the dust now carried that fire in his hands.